The Black Death was a small plague that started in Europe and formed into a huge infection, spreading worldwide, killing nearly 60% of the population. However, where did it start? Yersinia pestis is the bacteria that was the cause of this plague. It exists in various rodent populations. This bacteria attacks fleas and blocks up the mid-gut section of the flea. The flea tries to eat. It can't, and it throws up that bacteria into the rodent that it's living on. The rodent will then die, and the flea will have to find somewhere else to go. If there are no humans around, then it's all good, and it doesn't bother anyone. It's until the rat comes in contact with the humans, and it jumps on the humans, causing an epidemic. Well, that's at the heart of the bubonic plague. Because once the flea jumps onto the human and bites them, the bacteria can flood a bloodstream and congregate in a human's lymph node. When it enters the lymph node, the Yersinia pestis will create these huge swellings on the armpits, groins, and the lymph nodes of the human body, and not long after, you're gonna die. Because Yersinia pestis goes undercover to mimic one of the outer molecules called the lymphospheroid. It is a dead giveaway to your immune system. This bacteria will modify the structure, and you will no longer receive alerts from your immune system. The Yersinia pestis will go inside your lymph node and replicate itself. Eventually, your immune system will pick up on the fact that something's wrong, because the swelling in your lymph node is going to cause a big bump on the side of your neck called a bubbos. That's a characteristic of the bubonic plague. The blood will fill your lungs and you'll die. How do you die exactly? Well, strangely enough, your body kills itself. The presence of so many bacteria in your bloodstream will cause your immune system to freak out, triggering a condition called septic shock. Your body's blood vessels begin leaking, decreasing its blood volume. This leads to abnormal blood clotting and multiple organ failures. During the process of which Yersinia pestis takes over the body, you will get high fevers and you're going to throw up. You're going to have the shivers and you're eventually going to get gangrene, which is where parts of your body die off and turn black, hence the name the Black Death. There are also other forms the Black Death can take. Pneumonic plague is where it's traveled through the air system. Septicemic plague is where it enters the bloodstream and will 100% kill you. Now we're going to talk about the Black Death. The Black Death that killed upwards of 100 million people in less than a 10-year time span. It arrived in the 14th century, but now let's focus on why this happened. At the time, there was a change in the environment, which you could probably guess that the rats and other rodents went scurrying about. This was in the same time period of the Silk Road, which was a transport system between China and Europe. Now, it's not as easy as just saying the rats got on the Silk Road and they were carried into Europe. That's not how it happened. It's because the Mongols in that time period had turned to Islam and basically shut the Christians off from the Silk Road. Now, that occurred in the Crimean border, and in Crimea, you had some Italian tradesmen. They were held up in a city called Kappa, and what happened was the Mongols were infected with the bubonic plague. They started tossing the dead bodies of the victims over the wall, and these Italian tradesmen and sailors got infected. At the same time, they were trying to get the heck out of there, so they jumped on boats and traveled through the Black Sea. They started heading towards Europe, and along the way, they stopped at different ports, and if they stopped and the rats got off that ship, the plague would then start infecting humans. The ship eventually landed in Sicily in October of 1347, and this is where the rats really did their business, eventually affecting the whole island of Sicily. From there, it's just a transmigrating process. The fleas are eventually going to infect more humans, and the infected humans are going to try to run away, which helped the plague spread so fast. Some cities lost 20 to 30% of their population. Other cities lost 70 to 80%. If having the plague isn't bad enough, having the sanitary conditions of Europe is probably going to make it much, much worse. There are no sewer systems because of ancient civilization, so people dump their waste into the streets. Effects rippled throughout Europe when half the population was removed, 80 million to 30 million people in less than half a decade. People that survived were part of the healthier population. These people began passing genes with stronger immune systems, and that helped people survive the Black Death a little longer. There was also a very cool mask that doctors used to wear, and it was to treat people, but they weren't real doctors, and they just wanted the money. In conclusion, there are 3 types of plagues: pneumonic, bubonic, and septicemic. The Black Death involves all 3, which was why it made it so deadly. The root of all 3 of these plagues was caused by Yersinia pestis. It caused different side effects, but all ended with death. Yersinia pestis had a way of replicating and slithering into bloodstreams, causing pain to the infected victim. Who would have thought that a simple flea could kill you?